Welcome back. This is Kristen. We are hitting another chapter of the Bible today, and I'm really excited to jump on into this one. First off, yesterday, Abram and Sarai decided to help out God. God told Abram that his descendants were going to number as many as the stars, but they're getting up there in age and they were not able to bear any children as of yet. So Sarai offered up her handmaiden as Abram's wife, and he bore a son called Ishmael. But they haven't heard from the Lord since Ishmael was born. So let's jump right into chapter 17 of Genesis, which is titled The Sign of God's Promises to Abraham. Chapter 17. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, I am Almighty God. Walk before me and be blameless. And I will make my covenant between me and you and will multiply you exceedingly. Then Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. No longer shall your name be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham. For I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings shall come from you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be God to you and your descendants after you. Also, I give to you and your descendants after you the land in which you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said to Abraham, As for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your descendants after you, throughout their generations. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your descendants after you. Every male child among you shall be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskins, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. He who is 8 days old among you shall be circumcised, every male child in your generations. He who is born in your house or bought with your money from any foreigner who is not your descendant. He who is born in your house and he who is bought with your money must be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised male child who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Then God said to Abraham, As for Sarai, your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. And I will bless her, and also give you a son by her. Then I will bless her, and she shall be the mother of nations. Kings of peoples shall come from her. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born to a man who is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child? And Abraham said to God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before you. Then God said, No, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his descendants after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. He shall beget 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant I shall establish with Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to you at this set time next year. Then he finished talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. So Abraham took Ishmael his son, all who were born in his house, and all who were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskins that very same day, as God had said to him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, and Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. That very same day, Abraham was circumcised, and his son Ishmael, and all men of his house, born in the house or bought with his money from a foreigner, were circumcised with him. Wow. Okay, Abraham, I think God is going to come through with his promise. Oh my goodness. Again, God has confirmed and confirmed and confirmed. He is going to bear children with Sarah now and Abraham. And I always like to get into deeper discussions about these scriptures. And I listen to Pastor Chuck Smith from Calvary Chapel in Costa Mesa. And he has on the Word for Today app all of these different sermons from the different scriptures. He mentioned the fact that in the Hebrew language, the H sound, which was added to Sarah's name and Abraham's name, is like breath, because it is when you say it in Hebrew, it's a breath. So he's actually adding the breath of life into Abraham and Sarah. So anyways, very exciting news. And he's given him a timeline. This time next year, Abraham and Sarah are going to have a child named Isaac. So let's get into it. A son is promised tomorrow in chapter 18 of Genesis. God bless you. Have a wonderful time until I see you tomorrow.